Okay, Virgo Rising, in around 18 months, you might understand what this video was really about. I'm Sook Boy, you're awesome. Let's talk about it. If you're old enough, think back to around 2007 and 2009. What were the main themes that were moving through your life? This was the last time that the South Node was in your 12th house of Leo and your 6th house of Aquarius. That thread, that narrative is weaving its way back into your life. Recently, we've seen the South Node move back into Leo and the North Node move back into Aquarius. Now, this is very subtle. I doubt you've even noticed it. But it is significant because this is the area of your chart, the 6th and the 12th house, the health axis, is where you'll be experiencing eclipses moving forward. So as they gain momentum and activate this area of the chart, it'll become a lot more noticeable. First up, let's nest this in context. What is Aquarius and Leo all about? Aquarius is about humanity and how we contribute to humanity. It's about the future and how we interface with progressive, elements of society, like technology, for example. I think a better way to distinguish Aquarius, though, is to understand that it is the ideology behind individualism. It does not see people, it sees persons, and it sees individuals that all contribute to the sum of the whole, to the collective. In other words, what are the individual contributions that we all make to create our culture? Now, Leo, on the other hand, is the personality of the individual and indeed the cult of personality. So in some respect, you can see Leo like the leader, the politician, the influential celebrity, and you can see Aquarius more so like all the individuals that make up the culture, the collective. So you can kind of view Leo like your own story, your own narrative, and how you want other people to see you, what you want to be validated and recognized for. And Aquarius is how that actually plays out when you're in a social setting or when you're moving amongst the collective in a more visible way, the communities that you entangle yourself with, the friendship groups that you socialize with, for example. Aquarians, they get a kind of black sheep, alienated, eccentric, experimental kind of stereotype. And this is basically why. They're not neutral to people's differences, but they respect everyone's differences. Again, they're not seeing groups of people, they're seeing individuals that make up a group. They see persons, not people. And so therefore, they're not neutral about their own quirks. Sometimes they really like to own their own quirks. Next up, we have to blend more archetypes. Leo is in your 12th house and Aquarius is in your 6th house. Now, the 12th and the 6th house are called the health axis. The 6th house is about your exercise regime, your diet, what you consume, what you're refining about your life, your acts of service, basically how you put together the hours of your day. Whereas the 12th house is a more psychological house, let's say. It's about what you hide from, what you isolate yourself from, what it feels like to be in solitude. Where do you go to retreat, let's say? It's also your more unconscious impulses. Everything about you that you don't know is you. So repressed and suppressed emotions or thoughts or experiences that you just don't want to integrate yet. Psychologically, what have you been avoiding? What have you been escaping? What have you been neglecting and ignoring? And what kind of coping mechanisms do you use to facilitate that? Drinking too much, gambling too much, traveling too much, working too much, sleeping around too much. Look, I'm not sure, pick your poison. I also view the 12th house as an area of spirituality and transcendence. It actually asks you to see the bigger picture rather than get caught up on any particular day. Like, what does the entire narrative of the whole life look like? So immediately, my first impression is, what have you been working on in solitude or in isolation? What have you been hiding about yourself that now needs to be a little bit more visible and potentially useful for other people to appreciate about you? Next up, let's do the South Node and the North Node. Now, the South Node is basically going to audit anything that isn't working for you, and it's going to incinerate any of your coping mechanisms if it believes that it's, again, not working for you. Now, 12th house, Leo, South Node, that kind of tells me that you could have been suppressing or repressing some mental health issues, some deeper depression that you don't actually let other people know about. This 12th house can also be representative of not only your mental health, but your coping mechanisms of escapism and substance abuse, potentially. Again, Leo is kind of about confidence as well, wanting to be visible, wanting to take the spotlight. And in the 12th house, it's very difficult to attain that. So this could actually be, releasing your more performative nature, funnily enough. or having more confidence about yourself, taking that, version of you that sings in the shower and actually refining it in the 6th house, working on it in the 6th house, making it part of your routine so you can be more confident when you are indeed performing. The 6th house also represents your acts of service to others. And having an Aquarius 6th house is indeed pretty experimental. It needs a lot of variety and independence. The North Node is basically the compass, and it has an insatiable thirst, and it will reward you the more you build in this area of the chart, meaning that it has a compounding effect. But at the same time, it's very unfamiliar, yet rewarding. The South Node will incinerate anything that's not working, and the North Node will amplify anything that is. North Node Aquarius, if there is any psychological resistance to technology, then drop that and adopt it and become more familiar with it. If indeed you are abusing some kind of substance or you're sitting on some mental health issues, get out there and make it a daily routine to kind of unpack what's been happening and heal. For many of you, that may mean consciously making sure that you are being more social and not isolating yourself. Maybe this is a matter of just being more confident about yourself and who you are and showing off a little on a daily basis. After all, Virgo Rising is the most humble of the entire zodiac. There's something about your day that doesn't have to be ordinary anymore. You can introduce a kind of quirky, experimental aspect to it that somehow makes it more interesting for you. Maybe having more independence in your day is actually going to bring you out of this low-key depression or, escapism or avoidance or substance abuse or whatever you've got going on in your life. The North Node is really asking you to structure or restructure your day. Make it perfect. What does the perfect version of the day really look like for you? And how do you organize that? And how do you make it experimental? And if it's controversial or weird or left of center, then good. Own it. Now, as a thank you for watching this entire video, please feel free to send me a DM. I'll send you a coupon code for 30 Australian dollars off my natal and birth chart readings exclusively for new clients. Only love, positive vibes always. Hope that helps. Okay, bye.